Welcome to week 4. I'd like you to meet my helper Damien. He helps me by getting me full of cat fur. I've enjoyed reading your posts this week, and I thank you for your kind words about the videos. Trust me, I know public speaking is my weak point, and I continually struggle with it. I know others are far more engaging speaker than I am, but I appreciate your bearing with me and finding some sort of interest in it. I've been communicating with a few of you about some grammar and writing issues, and I just wanted to let you know that I think there's a writing or tutoring center on the CSI campus that if you had a little time to stop by once or twice to see if they could help you with some edits, and if writing isn't your strong suit and you think that that is something that would help you, I encourage you to check that out. I'm not always the best explainer about English, and I'm not really 100% sure of the best way to try to explain different things to you, but I think that maybe there are some people there that would be better at it than me, and that you could actually sit down with face to face. So I encourage you to think about that if you are getting comments from me about your grammar and writing and feel like that would be helpful to you. Also, I appreciate your patience in allowing me to make some grammatical comments, because I love writing and I love the English language and the nuances of it, and it's tough because there are so many irregularities in it, but I feel that it's an area that has been passed over a little bit in school these days. So I'm old-fashioned, and I think that it's something, as I told you earlier in the class, I think that when you write well and can spell and use words properly, I think it sets you apart and presents a good impression of you. So that's one of the reasons I'm a stickler for it. If anybody ever wants to try a video assignment, let me know, because that's something that I have been considering, is having students present their assignments in writing, or by video rather than in writing. So let me know what you think about that. If you think that's an idea that has merit to explore, if you'd be interested in videoing your filming your assignments instead of writing them, that is, like I said, an option I have been thinking about adding to the course. A couple side notes on the quizzes and things, and just some housekeeping items, not so much on the chapter today. In the grade book, I do put comments when I grade your discussion boards. So if you want to go back in and read those, they should be there in your grade book. In addition, I do make the quizzes available for the week after they're due for you to go in and look and see what you missed and what the correct answers are. If you're having trouble with that, let me know, because I might have a setting wrong in Canvas. But I have set that up so that you can find out what you missed and what the correct information is. The other thing is, I don't believe anyone ever said that you couldn't use your book to take the quizzes. I take a little bit different approach in that I think standardized tests are not the best way to assess someone's learning. I would rather have you demonstrate to me that you can apply the knowledge by completing a real life assignment or something that you would actually be able to use in real life, rather than memorizing a bunch of facts for a test. So if you want to use your book, go ahead. I have no problem with that. In fact, the final will be an open book final. It will be a comprehensive final over the entire semester, and you will have some time to work on it. But I would rather have you look up the information. I think it will stick with you a little better. And I just kind of take that approach about things. I know the school kind of encourages us to have you go to the test center and take a proctored exam, but that's just not my thing. And I have gotten permission to not do that with you. So just wanted to let you know that. The discussion boards, another thing is, please don't skip a discussion board. it's just, you'll get points for completing it even if it's not perfect. If you don't do it at all, or you'll get a 0, and that's just, there's no reason for that. I happen to give a little more weight to the discussion boards than maybe some of the other teachers do, because I want you to tell me how you're applying the knowledge you're getting, and I want you to engage with your classmates. You all are doing a great job with that part, by the way. I really appreciate your participation and communicating with each other in the course, and especially that some of you know each other already, which is really cool. But I really want you to do the discussion boards, and I want you to do them on time, because if you don't, you lose points, and there's no need for that either. I want you to have all the points you can possibly get, and I hate to see people getting 0s on these things or losing points for things that, you know, that's in your control. So I encourage you to consider completing those on time. The reason that I spread these assignments out through the week is because there's something called the spacing effect. Have you ever noticed that when you cram for an exam, you didn't maybe crack the book all semester, but the night before the final you pull an all-nighter, you drink like 3 Red Bulls, and you go in and you do fine on the exam, you pass, but 2 weeks later you don't remember a single thing that you studied. It's called the spacing effect, that we retain information much better when we do a little bit over a longer period of time rather than a lot right before or after an event. It's the same amount of time. It may be an hour, but it's much better to do it in 4 15-minute segments over 4 days than it is to do an hour all at once on one day. I know some of you have life and jobs and families, and you're super busy right now, and you have other distractions in your life. I get that. But if you can take a few minutes a couple times a week to go online and look at your course and read and do your discussion boards, I think that you'll find that you retain and understand the information better, and I think it gives you the opportunity then to, if you wanted to write something and go back in and edit it later, that also helps improve your writing if that's an area where you have challenges. The Chapter 4 is the chapter that's going to help you the most with the first assignment, because it talks about doing a management plan, and the first step of that is the regional market analysis. So it talks about the steps and the things that you can do to prepare that analysis. It also talks about comparing properties, and that's a case study, a discussion board you'll have this week, where you'll be asked to compare 2 properties, either residential or commercial. You choose one of the 2 categories, and then take the 2 properties and actual listing flyers and compare those properties and evaluate their characteristics based on the factors in the textbook. So that chapter will probably be easier for people who have studied marketing or management or business in the past. If you haven't done any of those things, I encourage you to start early on the chapter and read it through, because it's a little bit longer than some of them, and if the concepts are foreign to you, then it might take a little bit, extra for you to have that sink in. For those of you who love numbers, we do have an accounting chapter coming, so that'll be your baby that you'll love. But for this week, just be focusing on getting started on your assignment. Again, don't wait till the last minute, please. Also, when you're gathering data and statistics for your assignment and you start writing, I don't want you to just tell me the statistics in a list, or, this is this, this is that, this is what I found. I want you to pretend that you're trying to explain to me about the area that you're evaluating, and you're doing an analysis of an area where you're considering placing a property for management. I need you to explain to me what you found out in a written narrative form, and I need you to consider that I don't know anything about it, and you are having to explain it to me so that I understand it. If you just give me a list of statistics, I may not know what that means. I want you to pretend that you are far more knowledgeable than I about this particular topic, and probably you are, because you've studied it more than I have. and I want you to write it out and explain it to me. So that's the assignment for this time. If you have any questions about that, please don't hesitate to let me know. If you need help with anything, I'm always available. And finally, the chapter talks about comparing two different properties for the purpose of their various characteristics. There's a chart in there that gives a long list of factors that you can use to compare those two properties when you're doing your discussion board this week. Obviously, you won't have all the information to do the comparison on all of those factors, because what I gave you are actual listing flyers from properties that are here in Boise. You don't need to know about Boise. I don't need you to talk about that at all. I just need you to look at those two properties, and with the information you have, I don't expect you to research outside of the information you have. I want you to compare the two properties. And you won't have all the information, and that's okay, because that's life. We never have all the information we need to make a decision. We just have to do the best we can with what we have to work with. And that's the assignment for the discussion board for Chapter 4. Again, if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. And I really have enjoyed, feel like I'm starting to get to know some of you through your comments and your writing, and that's a fun thing for me. If you're ever near the State House in downtown Boise for any reason, now through the end of March, I'm in the Senate Health and Welfare Committee in the Chairman's Suites, and that's where my office is, so stop by sometime. It's open to the public. It's the People's House. Have a great week.